Okay, welcome to the third video in this series about guitar synthesizers. We've covered a lot of information so far, but in this video we're going to continue to compare the GR55 to the GM800, and I'm going to show you some differences there. And also, I'm going to give you maybe a couple hundred patches that you can use on the GR55. You can download them from the Google Drive. See the link in the video description. Now, in addition to that, we're going to look at the GM800 a little bit more heavily. We're going to look at the scenes and the way the patches are constructed. We're going to talk about how you can improve tracking on the GM800. So don't go anywhere, follow along. And so without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, I have about 5 guitars I need to set up for tracking. And the first one is this Fender Strat. It has a GK3 pickup. What we need to do is we need to measure from the divided pickup to the bridge. We need to do this on each string. We need to measure it in millimeters. Now what I do is I use this millimeter ruler I got from the eye doctor. I have a couple of different millimeter rulers, and we just go ahead and measure in millimeters from the tip of the divided pickup to the bridge, and we write all of those measurements down, a measurement for each string. So this will improve the tracking once we enter these numbers, and it'll make it track a lot better. Okay, this is my Ibanez, and this has got a GK2A pickup, the older one before the GK3, built in from the factory. See, it says Roland right here, and these switches actually control the divided pickup, and this is the volume knob for the divided pickup. Now we have to do the same thing. We have to measure from the divided pickup to the bridge on each one of these and write the measurements down. You can see how the distance is different from each one of these, and depending on how your guitar is intonated, that difference is going to be substantial or it's not going to be very much at all. But you have to record all of these numbers because we're going to put it in the machine and we're going to get it to track better as well. Okay, next up is the GNL Leo Fender guitar, made in 1985, sweet guitar. It also has a GK3 pickup, and the same deal applies. You're going to have to measure from the pickup to the bridge on each string. You just use your ruler, write down these numbers as you look and as you measure them, because we're going to put that in the GR55. Okay, last but not least is our Godine guitar. Now, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Godine. I've seen a font spelling of the word on the internet. Hopefully I got that right. Now, it has a Piezio divided pickup. Each one of these is a pickup, okay? And the cool thing about this is that there's no measurement required because there's no distance between a divided pickup and the bridge. The divided pickup is the bridge. And if you look, I'm gonna pull this out a little bit so you can see this. Over here is where we plug in our 13-pin connector cable. Over here, we plug into a pedal board, or we can plug into a guitar amp or something of that nature. Okay, once we have all of our information as far as measurements from the divided pickup to the bridge goes for each guitar, we can put that information into our Roland GR55. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to hit the edit button right here, and then we're going to have to hit the page button and go over to where it says System. And you can see already the GK settings is highlighted. You can change what's highlighted by these arrows right here, but we're going to hit edit on that, or enter basically. I think enter. There we go. So now we're on 02 Strat. Now I can change the guitar that I plug in by this. So each guitar has its own profile built. Okay, so you can get up to 10 on here. Now we're back on the Strat. So to go down to the pickup type, you just hit the arrow down and you're going to select. So we have GK3. We also have the GK2A and the Piezio pickup. We can also have variations of the Piezio pickup. F is for Fishman. And what we would do for other guitar is L is for LR Braggs. That's what we have in the Godine guitar. Okay, so we need to go to GK3. And now we are going to set the scale length. Right now it's set for Strat, and you can change this to Les Paul, or we can go back to Strat, or if you know the scale length of your fretboard, you just put that number in here. But since we're on the Strat, we're just going to go ahead and do the Strat. Now you can get your scale length from the manufacturer's website. Okay, so pickup phase and direction, you can kind of mess with. I don't really touch those. And if you want to change the directions of the buttons on the guitar, that's where you do it here. And then you have for if you want to increase the gain on the pickups you have in your guitar, that's what you would do here. If your guitar pickups, standard pickups, aren't loud enough, you increase it here. Now to go over to the next page, you're going to hit the page over, and you see this is where we're going to put in all of our information. So I'm going to go up, down one, and you can see the first string, 10 millimeters. That's the measurement I got, and I can change that using the wheel. We're going to go back down to 10 here. Okay. And then next page over is the sensitivity. So on the 6th string, if I play the 6th string, there is a sensitivity to it. Actually, I kind of put that loud. That's about where it is right there. That's about where you want it. Now, the next page over is dynamics. So we have play feel, low velocity cut, and velocity dynamics. Now these are settings that are going to be unique to this pickup configuration. Now they have settings like this on each patch, and that will adjust the patch. But really, if you have a pickup that's overly responsive, each of these settings will be recorded in the profile of the pickup, of the divided pickup you're using. Okay, so we're going to go over one more, and here we have nuances and dynamics. So all of these things you would change. Now, here is, if we're going to change this, this is 02. Let's go to 01. 01 is the LR Braggs, the Godin guitar. Here's my pickup type, and notice I have 648 millimeters. That is from the manufacturer's website. That's how long they say the scale is. And when you page over, everything says 20. You don't have to worry about the measurements. When you turn on the Piezio pickup, any of them, the Piezio pickup and the bridge is in the same location. So you don't, it ignores this. It doesn't pay attention to this. So you don't have to worry about it. So, and then you have all the same settings as you go. Here's your sensitivity and all that kind of stuff. We're still got the strap plugged in. So we're going to go back up here, and we're going to go to select the strap. So each time you plug one of the guitars into here, you have to select your divided pickup profile. Okay, when it comes to setting up the divided pickup on the GM 800, it is a little different. It's actually simpler. Just press the menu button, and then you're going to go to the GK settings, and then here is the grid. Now we've covered this a little bit in the other videos. And now I've set up Ibanez White. That's my Steve Vai guitar. That's where the GK5 pickup is installed. And if we page over, you can see there's our sensitivity. There are no, page over one more. There are no settings for play, feel, or dynamics, or any of that kind of stuff. Now, each individual patch has that kind of thing, and you can go through there and you can set all that stuff up. But if you take one pickup and you set all the play, feel settings in each patch according to that one pickup, what happens when you switch guitars and you have a different pickup? You're not going to go through every patch and change that again. So there is no global setting that you can tie to the pickup system for play feel. There is no distance measurement from the divided pickup to the string. It's not in here anywhere. So there are some features in the other guitar synths for tracking that are not in the GM 800. But the truth is, I really don't think they're needed. And yeah, I'm having a little bit of issue right now with the GK5, but the other pickups track really well. And we're going to go ahead and demonstrate that here in a minute. But just to show you, there's a lot of features that are missing as far as setting up tracking. Okay, in the last video, I played a patch that kind of had problems with the tracking. And we're talking about making the tracking better here, okay? So it just had problems. And people said, oh, it's a sensitivity, adjust the sensitivity. Some people had suggestions. But let me show you. I'm going to go over here and pull up the sensitivity. I got the GK5 here plugged in. And let's go over to menu. And then we're going to go, we got GK already. We're on the White Ibanez GK5, that's right, okay. Now we're going to go over to where it says string settings. So I don't know if you can see this in the background, but this is where I set my tracking. I don't do it from the unit. I don't do it from the unit on the ground because I can get more precise with the software. This is why you want to use the software to set your tracking, because you can get a lot more detailed and a lot more refined with it, okay. So it has been set up, as you can see. But if I go ahead and close this out, and I pull up that same patch I pulled up before, which is orchestral melody, okay. Now this is actually a good patch, but this GK5 does not do it justice. So I'll show you what I mean. Same thing as before. We're going to play some chords. Sounds all right, right? Oh, see, Still going. Strings aren't buzzing. See how long that goes? Watch. There we go. There's a note I didn't even play. Here we go. I'm just strumming simple chords. Listen to that. See how long that's vibrating? That's still going. In order for me to stop that note, I have to go over here and change the patch and play a note from that patch and then stop the note. That's ridiculous. I don't care what you say. It shouldn't do that. Play, feel, or whatever you want to adjust, it should not do that. It should just stop. Now, I'm going to show you something. Check this out. Okay, now I have my Godine guitar, and I've switched to the Godine profile in the synth. I went to pickup number 2. Same chords, same patch. Now watch the difference. You see that? All the GK pickups do that. The one pickup that doesn't do that is the GK5. Now, I really seriously think that there's a design flaw with the GK5. Now, why do I say that? Well, first of all, watch, I can change the patch. Now I'm on a different patch here. Flutes, right? Go back, here's this patch. Right, let's go back to the patch I was on, right here. So I can change patches using the buttons on my guitar. You can't do that with the GK5 because there are no buttons. Now I can also do this. I can turn the volume down. Can't do that because there's no volume. In addition to that, people said, well, the play feel in just adjust the play feel. Well, here's the problem with the play feel that people are talking about. That play feel setting is for that patch. And then when you go to another patch, you have another play feel setting, okay? The GR55 had a universal play feel setting that would attach to the profile you made of that pickup. So if I put like this on here, I had a play feel setting for this pickup that I could adjust. That was removed on this. There's no universal play setting feel. You have to do it for each patch. So if I take the GK5 and I adjust play feel going all the way down trying to get these patches to work right, the minute I plug in one of these guitars, it's going to sound completely off. And by the way, all 4 GK pickups work. This is my 5th one, the GK5. That's the only one I'm having issues with. I think it's a design flaw. Now, all that being said, this guitar synth is really an incredible synth. Once you get it tracking right and the sounds that come out of it, they're great. And it does a lot more in other areas that the GR55 is unable to do, okay? But what's cool about having the standard pickup system, okay? I have my 13-pin cable here. Then I have another wireless output. You get these $50 on Amazon, 30 to 50 bucks. This is a 5K wireless Lakido system. I think I paid 56 bucks for on Amazon. And you got a receiver and a transmitter. I got that plugged into the GT100. So I turn it up right here. Here's the volume knob for that. And here's my regular guitar right here. Right here. Right? Right? So if I want to blend the synth, here's the volume for the synth. I just bring it up a little bit like this. This is what it sounds like. So the thing is, this was really cool, is because the pickup has a volume knob, I can blend it with the other guitar sound and I can adjust everything from this guitar. I don't have to walk over to this device and that device and make sure the sound is equal. Why don't we cover these sounds? We're going to cover a few more sounds that are in the GM800. Why don't we do that? So this sound that we have, that we've been using here to test our tracking, it's actually a great little And that sound is a blend of strings, and we have 4 synths here. So we have dulce, strings, violin amp, contrabass, and cello. So here's our cello right here. So it's just a cello playing. Now if we want to add the contrabass amp to that, we have this kind of a sound. Now we also have a violin. We can turn this off and blend the violin in. Here's the violin. So let's see, violin. Okay, so we can add the contrabass and the violin together. We get this. And we add the other strings in. We get this. So you see the types of, I messed that up, that's my fault, not the tracking. But you can see the kind of things that you can do when you combine 4 of these things together. Let's look at some other patches. want to show you some pretty cool features that are not often discussed with the GR55, and that involves this little door over here. This little door opens up and it reveals a place to insert a thumb drive. Now this thumb drive can be used to update your firmware. You just download it off the internet and put it on the thumb drive and you're good to go. To check your firmware, you're going to take both page buttons, hold them down, and then you're going to hit the power button. And then it's going to boot up. And you see our firmware version is 1.50 and our boot version is 1.0. Now, if your firmware version is below 1.5, you're going to want to update it to 1.50. And let me show you the reason why. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, open up the side door, and I'm going to insert this thumb drive. But before I do, I'll tell you that there's about 300 to 350 songs on here, backing tracks. And we're just going to insert it. They're a WAV format. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Okay, we're on Sound Style Lead, and if your firmware version is below 1.50, you're going to have 30 patches here. Well, 30 banks with 3 patches each. It gives you about 90 patches, actually. So this is going to be your last patch for this guitar synth with that firmware. If you update your firmware, you're going to have access to more patches. You're going to be able to go up even higher. And as you can see as we're going up, there's a bunch of patches that they added to the lead. Now we're in the rhythm section, but here's the lead section, okay? So we can either hit the rhythm section or just go over one. Now we're going to go all the way up here, and you can see there's more patches in the rhythm section. So there's more factory patches in the rhythm section and in the lead section and in the other section. You have another set that goes beyond the 30 banks. Okay, so the cool thing is you're going to get about 88 to 90 extra patches simply by updating the firmware to version 1.5. So if you have a lower firmware version, you're going to want to update it. Also, it tracks better with the newer firmware too, so by all means, update the firmware version. So the second thing about having a USB drive plugged into your system is that I have all these patches here that I've made, and they're variations of other patches that came factory installed, and some of them I made myself. And there's a few of them in here that are really cool. I use all the time, and I can back them up. All I have to do is go to Edit, then use the page buttons and go to System. Then from there, I can go down over using these little cursor things to back up initial. And then I can back up my system. I can back up the patches that I've made. Perhaps one of my favorite features about the Roland GR55 is the built-in audio player, which uses the USB thumb drive, which is over here that I put in earlier. So to access the audio player, all I have to do is hit this button and I access the audio player. Now I lose the control function for patches. I can use the control function to go back and forth from selecting patches to the audio player. Once I'm in the audio player, I can control the audio player by these 3 foot switches. I can go forward in song this way, backward in song this way, and I can start the song this way. If I hit the 3rd button again, it stops the song, and if I push it again, it starts right where it left off. Now if I want to go back to the beginning, I just go forward and back, and I'm back at the beginning. Now I can also adjust the volume of the player so I can blend it in with the patches I've made. All I have to do is pan over with the cursor and I can adjust the volume of the audio player this way. So the audio player, I think, is a great function, a great feature. It's not on the GM800, but I've used this audio player to play backing tracks at gigs, at coffee shops, and other places that I've played. This is great. I just dial up the type of music that they want to listen to and just start the track and go. Okay, in the beginning of this video, I told you I was going to share a bunch of patches with you for the GR55. So let's go down to the Windows Explorer and open that up, and we're going to go over here to downloads. You can see here's all of my boss gear. My folder for the Roland GR55 is right here. Now I'm uploading this folder to my Google Drive, and I'm going to leave a link in the video description. So if you don't see the link, or if the link is not working for you, leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll see what I can do to get the link to work for you. Now there's a bunch of stuff in here. We'll go over that here in a little bit, but I want to show you the patches are in these 3 folders right here. So patch collection, this is mine, and these are all the patches I've made. So this will basically copy all the patches into the user area of the GR55. If you want the individual patches, over here are the patches I made for my nylon string, my Godine. So these are all designed for acoustic guitar right here. And then let's go back. And then here are the patches designed for my electric guitar. And there's about 60 something patches in here. These are ones that I've adjusted or made or done something to. And each one is unique and different. And so just go ahead and get what you want and use what you can. So we're going to go back to our Roland folder, and there's extra patches from Roland. If we click on that, you'll see all of these patches here. Now these are patches that were released when the GR55 first came out. And so you see patches from Steve Stevens, even Eric Johnson. Different artists have designed patches for this thing and gave them to Roland, and Roland released this. Now, I went to Roland's site and I looked everywhere for these patches and I could not find them. So I had them on the hard drive because I bought the synth when it first came out. I downloaded all these patches. So they're still good, they still work well. And the all patches folder right here contains all of them, and there's 124 in here. So click on a read me first, and it tells you everything about the patches. So these come directly from Roland. It's telling you about using the librarian to load the patches. But we're not going to use the librarian. I'm going to show you a different way here in a minute. So let's go back, and I'm going to go back again. Okay, so saved patches is something from a software program I'm going to show you. And guitar mode, these are patches for guitar mode. And notice there's a ton of patches in here, a bunch of them. And a lot of these are really, really cool. Then we have bass mode patches. So if you're running the GR55 in bass mode, here's patches for you if you're playing bass. Then also, if you're running some quick save patches right in here. Okay, so these save patches come from a software program called the GR55 floorboard. So you want to get it online and install this program. Now it's going to be on the Google Drive, but I would suggest that you get the most recent copy. This is the most recent copy, by the way. Was released in 2022. I'll show you why you want the most recent copy in a second. So let's go find the floorboard. We're going to open it up real quick. Most of you who've worked with this are familiar with this floorboard, but what I discovered here recently is that there's been several updates to this program. And so right now it's going through and categorizing all of my patches here. So we're going to go down and select a patch. I'm going to select a blank patch. I have a bunch of blanks in here. So let's go down to, let's see, 29. Select that patch. It's just a blank patch. Everything is turned off. Nothing is turned on. I'm going to load something in here. Now the cool thing is that the newer version of this has a librarian built in. The older versions of this program didn't do this, but get the new version. It works better. You can program better. And we're going to go over here to where it says File, right? And we're going to click on File and load a patch. So now we can navigate to where we need to go. So we're in our Downloads folder, right? So we're just going to go to our GR55, and we see all these patches right here. So here is my patches and extra patches from Roland. So let's go ahead and click on that. Here's our all patches, and we have one little file in here. Click on that and click Open. And so now we can select the patch we want to load. And here's all the patches that we have if you want to load. Let's see what's in here that would be good. Let's do a Hammond B3. Boom. Now we have a Hammond B3 in here. And when you want to save it, you just hit right and right to GR55. And there we go. Here's our B3 patch. So that's more or less how you load a patch. Pretty simple, right? So we're going to go over here to File. I'm going to load another patch. And here is our Roland folder. And here are the extra patches from Roland. These are my patches here. So you can click on this and you can just click on this one file, click Open. And you can select any of the patches that I have changed or modified or that kind of thing. Or what we can do is we're going to start again. Hit Cancel. I'm going to go over here to File. And let's go down to the Load Patch. And let's go over to Roland again. And Extra Patch. So let's go to Save Patches. Now these patches are patches that came with this program. So the GR55 floorboard basically has all these patches in them. So when you install a program, you're going to get all of these. So let's go to guitar mode, and here's all the guitar patches that you can load. There's a bunch. Let's say you want Eric Johnson patches. Okay, here we go. Here's one of Eric Johnson patches. And hit Open. And here's the different patches that he's made. Okay, there we go. And if you want to write it, let's go ahead and write it. Write it to GR55. So there you go. So roughly about 350 patches here that you can add to the user section that aren't factory. Okay. Okay, as you can hear for yourself, the GM800 is a great sounding guitar synthesizer. Now you've heard my Godin plugged in, that's my Piezio 13-pin cable there, and it tracked very well. And the GK3 pickups I have and the GK2A does a similar job. So it's really the GK5 that I have the issue with. And I really think there's going to be a firmware update to come along that's going to fix this thing, but in the meantime, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to hang on to it for a little while. But in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the Roland Cloud, and we're going to cover getting sounds from the Roland Cloud and putting that on the guitar synth. I'm going to talk about how to do that, and you're going to see the reason why I bought this thing in the next video. Now we get into the fun stuff. Now we get into the good stuff, and wait till you see what this GM800 can do. Until the next time, remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.